Hi, and welcome to Cooking While Fighting Cancer. I'm Jenny, and I am battling cancer right now, but I love to cook, so I thought what better way to spend my time than cooking. And this is one of my favorite dishes. This is a salmon pesto on asparagus with diced tomatoes. Very healthy dish, very flavorful, great dish. You can serve it on top of a risotto that I've actually done another video with, or a mashed potato, roast potato, or just serve it alone, which is what I'll show you tonight. The first thing we're going to do is get the diced tomatoes ready with some balsamic and olive oil, so those can be marinating while we make the rest of the meal. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is dicing 5 Roma tomatoes, and these are the smallest Roma tomatoes I've ever seen, but they will still work. So I'm going to start dicing these into a bowl. Okay, now I've finished dicing my tomatoes. I'm going to get all the rest of the tomatoes in the bowl. So I have a bowl full of diced tomatoes. The next thing we're going to do is add the olive oil and balsamic vinegar. So I am going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, and then for the balsamic vinegar, I use an aged, really thick one. So I am just going to actually just get a few drops in here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to mix them up, and I am going to season with a few shakes of salt and fresh ground pepper. And this is just now going to sit and marinate while I put the salmon together and the asparagus together, and we'll use it at the end. Okay, so the second part of this is putting the asparagus together. And I've already cut off the very ends of the asparagus. They're a little tough. And I have these nice, the rest of the asparagus left. And so I'm going to put it on a cookie sheet. Here we go. And I am just going to drizzle with a little olive oil over the asparagus because it is going to roast in the oven. And I'm going to also season with a little salt and a little pepper. And I'm going to kind of just shake it around so it's nice and covered. And I will save this for after I'm done putting the pesto salmon together. And then we'll put everything in the oven. Okay, so the third part of our dish is the salmon, the main dish part. At this point, I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I like using convection bake when I cook, so it cooks evenly all around. When you use convection, usually you cook 25 degrees cooler, and it does sometimes cook a little faster. So it's up to you what you would like to use. Salmon's going to cook differently depending on the size. So these probably would take 15 to probably more like 20 minutes. So the first thing you're going to do is get the salmon on a cookie sheet, baking sheet, and I like to use nonstick foil with this one because the pesto gets kind of messy when it cooks, and so it just makes it a little easier for cleanup. So I'm going to put my salmon on the cookie sheet and skin side down. And then I am going to take generous spoonfuls of this pesto. And as I've mentioned before in videos, I love Kirkland. I think has the best pesto if it's not homemade. I think it just tastes very similar to a homemade pesto. I think it's fantastic. So I'm going to put generous dollops on this salmon. And then all I'm going to do is just spread it out so the entire piece is covered with pesto. Very, very easy dish. Lots of fresh parts of it too, which make it nice. So at this point, I am going to put my salmon in the oven, and I'm going to wait about 5 minutes, and then I will put my asparagus in the oven as well. So I'm going to go over and put my salmon in. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes with my salmon in, and it is time to put the asparagus in now. Something I should have also mentioned at the beginning, not every family does everyone love salmon. My son does not. So this dish is very easy if you have someone that doesn't like salmon to do a chicken breast as well. So you can do a chicken breast, the same thing I did with the salmon, just put a dollop of pesto on, rub it all over. The chicken breast is going to take a little longer than the salmon. It's going to be another 5 to 10 minutes, so you'd have to put the chicken in first. But that's just a tip. If somebody doesn't like salmon, you can do the dinner for the whole family. Okay, so the asparagus now goes in the oven, 350 degrees. Okay, so I've now taken out the asparagus and the salmon out of the oven, and I have my tomatoes ready to go. The asparagus, you can tell when it's ready when it kind of gets a little brown, sizzly, a little crunchy on the ends. That's when that's done. The salmon, I like my salmon cooked through. So I just take a fork, you really won't even see it, and you just kind of make sure, twist it, make sure it seems kind of flaky. It does seem flaky. It's good to go. Okay, so once you have everything out and ready to go, we'll plate it so I can show you what it's gonna look like. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some asparagus and put it in the bottom. So I'm gonna grab a few pieces here. And again, if you decide to use a risotto or a potato or something like that, you're gonna put it down first, and then the asparagus would go on top. But it's great by itself. Okay, and then I am going to put this beautiful piece of salmon on top. Okay, and then the last is putting these beautiful tomatoes on. So you're gonna drizzle all the tomatoes and the juices on top. And then if you have some balsamic glaze, you don't need this, but it's actually a wonderful add-on at the end. I like to just do a little glaze at the very end. And look at this beautiful, beautiful dish. Super healthy, super flavorful, and super easy. Okay, so now you have this beautiful dish to serve to family and friends, and I hope you enjoyed making it. And I'll see you again next time with another great video. Thank you.